What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and it is such a good feeling to start off your Sunday with a comprehensive win. I wish every Sunday started like this. It's been the past two Sundays, so yeah, it's a good day. At least until I watch The Walking Dead tonight, and then it'll be kind of sad. But anyway, so let's talk about this game. Really good performance again, a good solid team performance. I do want to talk really quickly about the midweek match. I did a review on it, talked about how frustrating it was, talked about how it felt like they kind of didn't care. And honestly, that's kind of the feel that I got from a lot of fans too. Like, I posted something on Google Plus about some of the choices Conte made, about how frustrating it was that we got knocked out of a tournament, and everybody's just like, who cares? It's the League Cup. Like, I do understand that the League Cup is nothing like the FA Cup. Like, the FA Cup is extremely more important than the League Cup. But it's still a tournament. It's still a chance for some players that aren't going to play a whole lot. Ivanovic probably won't play that much. Chalobah probably, he'll get some subs from time to time, but he's probably not going to get a whole lot of game time overall. Batshuayi, unless, Costa gets his fifth yellow or injury problems, I don't see him getting a whole lot of game time. So you want to be in something that gives them that game time, and now they don't have that anymore. So I wanted to talk about that for a second because I feel like that's not being thought about. Everybody's just like, okay, who cares? It's a chance to play some of your reserve players. That's all it is. I feel like it's more than that. I feel like it's a chance to give players who deserve some game time but aren't going to get in the league. We're not in the Champions League, so there are so few games to play this year for us. I felt like that could have been a good chance to give some of those players some time. However, that being said, you look at that game and you look at this game, and there are obviously some big changes that happened, in that game. Because you look at our back line, once again, you've got Dave back there, that's Azpilicueta, and he is just, I do not want to see him out on wingback anymore. I cannot imagine him out there anymore because he's such a key figure in that back line. He's got so much speed, first of all. He's got strength, and he's got this know-how of where to be to win the challenge every single time. And there was a moment, there were like 5 minutes in the second half where we had the ball in their box. Gets cleared out, Azpilicueta steps in, wins the ball, now we're back in their box. Bing, 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 cleared out, Azpilicueta steps in, wins the ball, back in their box. Bing, 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 they kick it long, and it looks like maybe they've got a chance for a breakaway. Azpilicueta slides in, stops the counterattack. It was just brilliant to watch, and Lee Dixon said it too in the commentary. He said he is a very underrated player. I agree, 100%. Not enough people are talking about what a great job he does back in that defensive line. To put him out on wingback is just taking away all of that hard work that you've got back there. So I don't want to see that anymore. Like, even in FA Cup matches, I don't want to see Azpilicueta taken out of or put on the wingback. If you're gonna make a sub, if you're gonna rest him, that's fine. But I don't want to see him out on wingback anymore. That's not his position. He's not a wing. He's more of a fullback, or now he's becoming kind of a bit of a center back too. So. Also impressed me, surprisingly, in this, David Luiz. I said something about it in the Man U match. I felt like he was a lot more solid, a lot more calm. And it could have been just a blip. With David Luiz, it feels like you could get either the eccentric, crazy, sideshow bob hair. You could get that player. You could get him sort of doing what he does and just not really giving a crap. Or you can get this player that sometimes does stay at home, sometimes does work for the team, and does a good job doing it. In these past two matches, we've gotten a David Luiz that does work for the team. Today put in a lot of good challenges, didn't get caught out too many times. When he does, he knows he's got the stability of, you've got Azpilicueta back there to cover for you. Cahill's another body back there at least. Still not really sold on him yet. And then Matic, of course, also steps back in there and helps out. So he knows that he doesn't want to get up very often because he wants to help stay back and defend. But when he does, he knows he's got that support back there. So he only does it a few times now. He used to do it all the time. It felt like every single time ball was in the midfield, he's stepping in trying to win it. getting pulled out of position. Now, over the past few games, he's done it like 3 times in a match. That's a good improvement for him. Also in the back line, of course, is Cahill, and like I said, I'm not sold on him yet. I feel like the main reason we haven't had any defensive difficulties is because we've got so much cover that it doesn't matter if Cahill is not that great of a defender. I mean, there's still moments where his mistakes lead to a bit of panic. A mishit clearance, he's not tracking a man. And on top of that, when you've got Marcus Alonso on that side, who's not that great of a defender, I mean, he does okay, and I think he works really hard, and that does work for him. But you really look at him, and there's that one moment in the first half where Tadic just cut him back and forth, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to stand him up and just wait for him. He's not a great defender. So you've got Cahill on that side, you've got Alonso on that side. Honestly, if Southampton had attacked that side more, I feel like they would have gotten more dangerous chances. They had a few chances in the first half because of their hard work. You know, they are at home, they got scored on early, they wanted to work hard to get back into the game. But they were going down the wrong side, I felt like. You've got Moses, who's got a ton of speed and just works really hard to win the ball back. And then you've got Azpilicueta on that side too, who's got a lot of speed and is a great defender. So they kept going down that one side, and Redmond just couldn't do anything with it. It was just constantly trying to get past Azpilicueta and Moses, and both of them just double teaming him and saying, "You're not going anywhere." So it's really nice to see that teams haven't figured that out yet. I'm surprised nobody's figured that out yet, because it feels like that would kind of be common sense. Go to the backside. And honestly, the only time they ever do is on crosses, and Cahill and Alonso both have a ton of height. You're not going to get a whole lot of joy on crosses. So if anybody on the other teams are watching this, just ignore anything I just said. But if you're Conte watching this, we need more cover on that left side. We have too many defensive mistakes on that side that I think would be exploited if it was a better team and a smarter team. Not calling Southampton stupid, but they couldn't figure that out. Up into the midfield, Conte and Matic again, once again, just doing what they do. Conte just runs everywhere. It feels like he doesn't ever stop, and that he has no off button. He has no slow down button. It's constantly 100% trying to win the ball back. When he does win the ball, he's working hard. Had a couple of brilliant passes. I mean, there was one that set up the almost goal in the second half that, Costa should have scored, Pedro should have scored, right in front of the goal mouth. His ball to set it up was just a nice little ball right into Alonso's path, and it was brilliant. He does such a nice job on the ball, off the ball, defensively, offensively. He feels like a complete midfielder, and I love watching him play. It's so much fun to see him on the field. Matic, I think, is doing a much better job defensively. I think last season kind of dropped off. His work rate dropped off. I felt like he should have been doing more defensively. He wasn't doing enough tracking. I feel like with Conte in the midfield with him, he feels a lot more. He feels like he doesn't have to get up as much. Last season it felt like it was him and it was Fabregas, or it was him and Mikel, both of which like to hold back. Mikel is just, he sits back there, does nothing, but that's where he sits. So Matic felt like he needed to get forward with the attack. Fabregas sits back and sends the ball long, so he felt like he had to get forward in the attack. This season, Conte is getting forward in the attack, so he feels a bit more safety to sort of sit back in front of that back three and just provides a lot of protection there. And does a good job of it too. I mean, he on the ball this season, he's gotten better as well, because they're not just, last season it felt like all they had to do was stick a foot in, poke it away, and that's it. This season he's using his body, he's using his long legs, and very effectively, and just not letting anyone near the ball. So that was brilliant to see. Midfield really shut him down there, and a lot of their joy came from the wide players. They had to get it out wide, one-on-one with the wing backs, and Tadic versus Alonso looked more dangerous. When it was Redmond versus Moses, it felt like it had to be a cross in, and David Luiz is there every single time to just head it away. So really shut him down defensively. On the opposite side of the ball, just looked brilliant on the counterattack. You've got Hazard, who I feel like He's still got a little bit farther to go till I think he is back to the world class player that we remember him for a couple years ago. The one that Mourinho is comparing to Ronaldo and Messi. He has the ability to be up there. I mean, we've seen him do the stuff that just makes him a world class player, that makes him look unstoppable. And he showed a couple of it in this a couple times in this match where it just one touch and all of a sudden he's got a shot off. It just looks so easy for him. And the goal was it was a brilliant run first of all, and then he cuts inside and just rips it left foot right in between the keeper's legs. And then later on in the game, there's a moment where, like he did against Smalling, takes the defender one side, cuts it in on his right foot, and tries to find the back post. And unfortunately, Forster made a good save. But it's so nice to see that it doesn't matter which side he goes on. And a lot of that has to do with the system they're playing now. He doesn't have to be out wide anymore because they've got the wingbacks with that width. So he's able to just sort of run around the entire field. He and Pedro often cross paths. They end up on opposite sides of the field. But he just has freedom to run wherever he needs to go and is doing wonders for his game. And I can't wait to see until I feel like a few more games he will be back to where we expect him to be. He'll be scoring solo goals. He'll be setting up several assists. I can't wait to see that because I know it's coming. Pedro, I feel like I've ragged on him a little bit. I think a lot of that is because I just don't see enough out of him. I see too many moments where he's giving the ball away when he had help, or he's not strong enough in the challenge, or like when they had the moment in front of goal. Yes, Costa should have scored. He should have turned and had the shot, but then he lays it off to Pedro, and at that point, the attack is done. He takes way too many touches, allows 6 defenders in front of him, and then a weak little pass back to Matic, and Romeo steps in, kicks the ball away. So, I'm not seeing enough from him. However, I do understand why he's in there. I'm not going to say he's a completely useless player, because he works hard for the team. And I may have said this before in one of my past 2 reviews. He really does work really hard for the team. He's not a player like Mikel who's just sort of there as a body on the field and doesn't really do much. He actually does work. And he works really, really hard off the ball to win it back. Whenever he's on the ball, you can tell he's working hard to keep it. He just doesn't have the strength or the skill to hold on to it whenever he's challenged by some of these strong, quick Premier League defenders. So I think maybe give him time, maybe give him a chance to work his game. Because one of the things that I thought Hazard has done really well since coming to Chelsea, he always had the quick feet, the speed to beat a defender. But as he started getting challenged more, he started to realize he needed more strength. And so that's where he grew his game. He became a lot more strong. He started beating defenders with strength. They started putting challenges in, and he uses his strength to hold up the ball until he can lay it off to another player. So he really evolved his game to become a good Premier League player. Pedro needs to do the same thing. He still looks like a player who's stuck in La Liga, who has the quick feet, who has the speed, but doesn't have the strength, and that's not going to cut it in the Premier League. So hopefully that can get better. But I do appreciate the work effort he puts in. I'm not going to downplay that. I just think he's not quality enough yet to make it in the Premier League, and that's where I think Willian would probably be a better option. Another moment where I'm just like, Pedro over Willian, and then he does okay. And of course, Willian didn't really do much when he came in, but I'll talk about that in a second. Costa, once again, looking back at his best. I feel like a lot of his work now is coming off of the runs that he makes. He doesn't always have to do stuff on the ball. In fact, at the end of the first half, I think Arlo White was saying he's had the least amount of touches for Chelsea, like 14 touches overall. And so it's kind of like, what is he even doing out there? And then picks up the ball for 15th or 16th touch and just rips it far corner with a little bit of a curl. Brilliant shot. But you really watch him and you watch what he does. His movement off the ball draws defenders, and that's where a lot of his game has become now. He's not really that striker that you feed the ball in behind and he finds it every single time. He's become more of a striker that moves really well. And you wouldn't think that, thinking Costa. You think more about his strength. You think more about his aggressiveness, his ability to push the defender off whenever they put a challenge on him. That hasn't been a lot of his game. He's done that this season for sure, but a lot of his game has been drawing the defenders to him to open up space for the two midfielders, Hazard, Pedro, Willian, whoever it is, in behind, and that opens up the space for them. Then Hazard most of the time will make a run that draws defenders to him, and that opens up space for Costa. So I love how they sort of work, those front three. They work so well off of each other that it just opens up space. And then even Alonso, Moses, Matic, sometimes Conte, they all get in on the action because they know these runs being made, the quick ball movement, it just shuffles the defenders around and they don't know how to deal with it. They don't handle it very well. And until they find a defense that, kind of like theirs, I mean, West Ham I thought did a good job of doing that in the midweek. They just know, they know how to organize. They know not to get drawn by certain runs. They know to track certain players. I mean, a couple times Hazard was left wide open. For his goal, Stephen Davis left him wide open when he made the run in behind. And it was that tracking back run that he was already late for that caused him to be able to be cut, and then Hazard has the shot. So I like the movement. I like all of that stuff. It's very hard to organize against, but I think once they find a well-organized defense, once they find a defense that will work hard and track the runs well, that's when they need to find that one extra moment that I think they're going to need to break down that defense. Because right now it's working, but once you find a more sturdy defense, that's where I think you're going to have to start asking questions of who's going to be that one extra run that they need to make. Because right now it's working perfectly. Their whole system is working perfectly. So yeah, that's pretty much for the starting 11. Courtois, I forgot to talk about Courtois. He didn't have a whole lot to do, but once again, I feel like I saved this for him a lot recently. He doesn't, honestly, unless it was Man U I thought had a lot of chances because they were just pushing really hard. I'm pretty sure Mourinho instilled them with some fire to try to get one back after such an early goal. But Courtois was there every single time, and whenever the defense was beaten, Courtois was there. This game, the defense really did a good job of shutting down Southampton. Southampton really tried hard. They gave their all. They were at home. It's just a matter of the defense was sturdy enough that they managed to shut it down. Now, when the defense caused a little bit of panic, whether it was a cross in or, like I said, Gary Cahill mistake occasionally, it was a moment where you feel like Courtois needs to be ready, and he always is. He's always ready for that one shot. He's always ready for the ball's coming through. He's ready to step in and get it. He's ready to be there at the top of the box, tell the defender to hold off the forward, and he's there picking up the ball. So really works well. I really enjoy having him in as keeper. I really hope we manage to hold on to him because there were talks at the beginning of the season about, where's he going to go? Is he going to leave? I really hope we hold on to him because he's a great keeper to have. And, I mean, you saw midweek Begovic, not really the same type of keeper. He's okay, but he's not the quality that Courtois is. So, on to the subs. First sub, I didn't mind at all. Willian comes in for Pedro. I feel like Willian has kind of fallen behind a little bit because of the week that he had to take off for his mother, which I'm not going to blame him for, but it does mean that he needs to work a bit harder to get back to the level where he was. The team, they didn't stop working when he was gone. He did. So you understand why he's not at the same level he was, but at the same time I feel like he's got to start getting back into that rhythm. He didn't look as good midweek. He looked okay, but I feel like he should be doing more. When he comes in today, does a fairly decent job, but just not the same quality that I normally expect of Willian. I mean, the one shot where Matic sets him up brilliantly, you expect him to at least get it on target, and he just completely miscues it way wide. You expect more out of him. So I feel like giving him some time, subbing him in with a good amount of time left, which 20 minutes isn't enough in my opinion, but you need to give him more time to get into the game, to really get his legs back, because once he has his legs back, he is a quality player that we need on the field to do pretty much what Pedro does, but better. Second sub, Ivanovic comes in, another player that needs to get his legs back. Not really sure if he's suited for that wing-back role. I don't think he has the legs to do it, and I would really hate to see Azpilicueta pushed out there and Ivanovic put where he is right now, because I feel like of the two, yes, Azpilicueta is more suited to that role, but I think Azpilicueta is still better suited to the defensive role than Ivanovic is. So I don't know. I don't know what the thought process that is there. I feel like Ivanovic has kind of lost out his position to the likes of Moses and Azpilicueta and David Luiz. I can't see him getting a whole lot of game time right now, but maybe this is just a chance, get your legs back. Well, just in case we need you, just in case injuries or suspensions, whatever. So don't mind seeing him get a bit of game time. He looked okay from what I saw, made a couple good runs, made a couple good crosses, but just worried about him defensively is the only problem I have, because at that point Southampton weren't getting a whole lot forward, so he didn't have a whole lot to do on the other side of the ball. And then the last one, Batshuayi on for Costa, just giving him some game time, allowing him a chance to get him a goal or two. And he didn't, but I think the mindset is right. He's in the right spots. It's just a matter of he comes in with, I think, 5 minutes left. So there's not a whole lot of time to do much with that. So 5 minutes of getting a couple chances and not finishing, if you stretch that out over an entire game, he's going to get more chances like that, which means more chances for him to score. I see him getting a few goals if he does play the whole game. And like I said, part of that is working with players like Hazard, because frankly, like I said in the midweek match, you put Oscar and Willian in behind, neither of them are players that are going to hold up the ball. Hazard is. And I think that's going to help Batshuayi a lot more. Having a player up there who can hold up the ball and send him in behind, let him make his run, and then play him through. So overall, very comprehensive win, very good performance from the team. It was a great game to watch. 2-0, 4 clean sheets in a row in the league, 4 wins in a row in the league, and we're 1 point behind the top 3. It's right there. We are in the race, and that is one of the greatest things about this, is that at the beginning of the season it was kind of like, where are we going to be? We're coming off a really bad season. Is Conte going to be enough to bring us up and keep us in the race, or are we going to be hoping for a top 4 finish? What are the changes he's going to bring in? What are the tactics he's going to bring in? So far, with this new tactic, what he's doing with the team, it's really working out very well. And it's so much fun to watch. They are not exactly the most... You watch a Liverpool game, and they've talked about this before. Liverpool are exciting to watch, but at the same time, they're exciting because it goes both ways. They really look great in the attack, but they have no defense, so you know there are going to be a lot of goals in a Liverpool game. In a Chelsea game, it feels like they don't do that much at first. Like, you watch most of the first half, after the goal, it felt like it was all Southampton. But then you watch the second half and you're just like, oh, they were just biding their time, letting Southampton run out their legs, and now they're coming back and completely dominating the second half. So really enjoy seeing the tactics being brought in, really enjoy seeing the thinking going on. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's nice to see that we are in the race. We are up there. That's good. We should be up there, but it was kind of a question of, will we be at the beginning of the season? Now we know for sure we are going to be in the race. Hopefully we can keep this going. Can't remember who we're playing next, but another league match up next. Excited to see how it's going to go. What's the lineup going to be next week? It's probably going to be the same. How's it going to go? I think it's Stoke, now that I think about it. So can't wait for it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this game? What changes do you want to see made, if any? And let me know, we can talk about and discuss. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you at the next game. Peace out.